8 years earlier, and Elliot had been persuaded to let go of the man she loved, not because her heart doubted him, but because the world did. He had no fortune, no rank, no promise of security. And so, quietly, obediently, and allowed herself to be convinced. Time passed, but the weight of that decision never left her. Others moved forward, married, laughed, forgot, and remained thoughtful, restrained, unchanged in her feelings. She learned to carry regret without complaint, to listen more than she spoke, to give comfort while asking for none. Her life became a series of small sacrifices, offered without protest. Yet beneath her calm exterior lived a steadfast heart, one that had never truly stopped hoping, because some loves do not fade. They wait. Life had taught in Elliot to expect very little. Hope, she believed, was something to be carefully managed. And yet, without warning, the past began to stir. A familiar name was spoken in a quiet room. Captain Wentworth. It arrived casually, almost carelessly, as though it meant nothing at all. But to Anne it meant everything. 8 years had passed since she last heard it spoken aloud. 8 years of silence, of restraint, of unshared memory. She listened without reacting. Her face remained composed, calm, unreadable. Only her heart recognized the sound. It remembered the man he had been, and wondered who he had become. Time changes fortune, but not always affection. Anne understood, in that moment, that her quiet life was no longer secure. The past had not returned to haunt her. It had returned to ask a question, one she was not yet prepared to answer. And was prepared to hear his name. She was not prepared to see him. Captain Wentworth entered the room as though the past had never existed. His manner was confident, his presence assured. Success had changed his circumstances, but not his composure. And felt the moment before she understood it. The room seemed suddenly smaller, quieter. She looked up, and met his gaze. He bowed politely, formally, as one does to an acquaintance, not as one does to a woman once loved. There was no accusation in his eyes, only distance. It was more painful than anger could have been, and returned his greeting with equal calm, her voice steady, her expression unchanged. No one else in the room noticed the silence between them. No one understood what had passed, and what had not. But in that brief exchange, years were acknowledged, and carefully set aside. He spoke easily of the past, as though it had no hold on him. His words danced lightly in the room, charming and confident. He mentioned women, disappointments, folly, all in the casual tone of a man who had moved on. Not once did his gaze find Anne, yet and heard every carefully chosen word. She did not need explanation. She understood the weight beneath his tone. Every phrase carried subtle meaning, layered and deliberate. His laughter rang lightly, but not carelessly. It held memories unspoken, and listened in perfect stillness, every muscle controlled, every breath measured. The room continued around them, unaware of the silent dialogue. His voice was soft, polite, courteous, yet precise. He described events, past encounters, shared acquaintances, all without direct reference to her. And yet, she knew each anecdote was chosen carefully, meant to resonate. She felt a shiver of recognition, restrained, tempered by habit. Time had passed, but not the heart. She recalled the man he had been and wondered who he had become. There was a subtle tension in his posture, invisible to others. His hand brushed a table, a gesture almost imperceptible, but not to her. Anne's fingers lightly rested in her lap, gripping a small embroidered handkerchief. Her eyes followed his movements, every detail absorbed, though her face remained calm. She noted the slight pause in his tone, the inflection that hinted at memory. Words left unsaid weighed heavier than those spoken. She understood him without needing a single direct declaration. The room's chatter carried on around them, oblivious. And in that moment Anne knew. He was speaking not to her, but about her. Meaning carefully withheld, yet unmistakably present. A silent conversation stretched across the space between them. He spoke easily of the past, as though it had no hold on him. His words danced lightly in the room, charming and confident. He mentioned women, disappointments, folly, all in the casual tone of a man who had moved on. Not once did his gaze find Anne, yet and heard every carefully chosen word. She did not need explanation. She understood the weight beneath his tone. Every phrase carried subtle meaning, layered and deliberate. His laughter rang lightly, but not carelessly. It held memories unspoken, and listened in perfect stillness, every muscle controlled, every breath measured. The room continued around them, unaware of the silent dialogue. His voice was soft, polite, courteous, yet precise. He described events, past encounters, shared acquaintances, all without direct reference to her. And yet, she knew each anecdote was chosen carefully, meant to resonate. She felt a shiver of recognition, restrained, tempered by habit. Time had passed, but not the heart. She recalled the man he had been and wondered who he had become. There was a subtle tension in his posture, invisible to others. His hand brushed a table, a gesture almost imperceptible, but not to her. Anne's fingers lightly rested in her lap, gripping a small embroidered handkerchief. Her eyes followed his movements, every detail absorbed, though her face remained calm. She noted the slight pause in his tone, the inflection that hinted at memory. Words left unsaid weighed heavier than those spoken. She understood him without needing a single direct declaration. The room's chatter carried on around them, oblivious. And in that moment Anne knew. He was speaking not to her, but about her. Meaning carefully withheld, yet unmistakably present. A silent conversation stretched across the space between them. The room remained quiet, yet Anne felt a subtle shift in the air. Captain Wentworth's eyes met hers for a fleeting moment, almost imperceptible. A warmth lingered there that contradicted his otherwise polite demeanor. Anne's chest tightened, and she forced herself to remain composed. Every detail of his appearance seemed magnified. The cut of his coat, the tilt of his head, the controlled movement of his hands. He spoke with charm, yet Anne caught the faint hesitation in his tone. It was a pause that betrayed thoughtfulness, consideration, perhaps regret. Her heart responded before her mind could intervene. She recognized the man she had loved, yet he was different, grown confident, tempered by experience. Her fingers, lightly clasped in her lap, trembled ever so slightly. He mentioned a shared acquaintance, and for a moment, their eyes locked, acknowledging the past in silence. The air seemed charged, though the conversation remained polite. Anne's thoughts raced, yet her face betrayed nothing. He laughed softly at a minor anecdote, and Anne felt it resonate in her memory, touching a chord long untouched. A small sigh escaped her lips, unnoticed by others. Every gesture, every word, seemed meticulously placed, yet deeply personal. She recalled evenings spent in quiet hope, letters read and reread, dreams that never faded. His posture relaxed slightly, as if he sensed the invisible thread between them, and dared a small glance, careful, measured, testing the waters of their mutual recognition. The room buzzed with polite chatter, yet for them, time seemed to contract. Years of restraint pressed upon her heart, yet there was a spark of renewal. The warmth in his fleeting gaze contrasted sharply with the coolness of the surrounding social decorum. Anne's mind wove memories and present together, sensing that unspoken understanding had begun. And in that brief exchange, though words remained formal, emotion was undeniable. The heart, long dormant, began to stir, and felt a subtle warmth that had been absent for so long. It was in the tilt of his head, the faint softening of his gaze. The polite distance of the room no longer mattered. Each glance between them carried meaning far deeper than words. She recalled how she had imagined this reunion countless times, yet reality surpassed her expectations. He spoke to others, but his eyes occasionally found hers, acknowledging, testing, measuring. Anne's heart quickened imperceptibly, yet she maintained her composure. Every movement he made seemed to echo shared memories and unspoken understanding. The air felt charged, though no one else noticed. A small smile tugged at the corner of her lips, unnoticed by those around. Captain Wentworth's expression softened when he thought she wasn't watching. The subtle gestures of recognition passed like whispers across the space between them. Anne's fingers, once clenched, now rested lightly in her lap. She allowed herself a moment to breathe, slow and careful, savoring the silent acknowledgement. He gestured with polite elegance to another guest, yet caught the tiny lift of an eyebrow meant for her alone. The room's decorum could not contain the quiet intensity of this exchange, and remembered their last parting, the tension of unspoken words, and the ache of years spent in hope and restraint. Now the years seemed compressed, pressed into this brief, intimate awareness. He spoke softly, not to her, but she heard it as if it were a confession. A slight shift in posture, a gentle nod, conveyed what words could not. Her gaze followed him carefully, measuring, understanding, yet restrained. The room moved around them, but Anne and Wentworth were in their own world, invisible to others. Each small sign of recognition felt like a bridge across years of silence, and felt her pulse, quick and steady, a controlled excitement she had not known she still possessed. The heart, once dormant, now fluttered cautiously, acknowledging the return of a familiar presence. And in this silent, tender recognition, hope began to bloom quietly, patiently, yet unmistakably. And felt her heart respond fully, no longer restrained. Captain Wentworth's gaze met hers steadily, warm and unwavering. The polite distance of society no longer mattered. They existed only for each other in that moment. Every gesture, every glance, carried the weight of years of unspoken affection, and allowed herself a quiet smile, genuine and free. He returned it with a soft warmth that reached her very soul. Gone was the polite formality, replaced by recognition, understanding, and relief. The room continued its gentle hum, but they heard only each other. A subtle laugh escaped Anne, restrained but joyful. Captain Wentworth's expression softened further, unguarded for the first time. Time, absence, and distance all melted away between them. She recalled the letters, the hopes, the restrained longing of years past. Now, each unspoken word found its meaning in their shared presence. He stepped slightly closer, not to crowd, but to bridge the final emotional gap, and felt warmth spread through her chest, a quiet certainty blooming. They exchanged no words at first, allowing the silence to carry their emotions. His hand brushed against hers, light, tentative, yet electrifying in its subtlety. Anne's breath caught softly, a tremor of emotion she could no longer hide. The past regrets and missed chances dissolved in that tender moment. He spoke softly, finally, just for her, though the words were simple. "And I have waited for this." She responded with a nod, a quiet affirmation of everything unspoken. Their eyes held, conveying love, forgiveness, and enduring connection. The room, the society, the years, all faded away. In that shared gaze, the heart's long restraint found its release, and allowed herself to lean ever so slightly toward him, a gesture mirrored by his own movement. And in that tender acknowledgement, their story found its gentle, poignant resolution.